The Nine of Wands is really all about this feeling of being very defensive. It's a nine in numerology, so it's like an endings and completions of a cycle. But the main feeling of this card is really this defensiveness. You can see here in the traditional Rider Waite tarot deck, you have someone here building a stockade here, and they're behind it, kind of peering out, almost like they're preparing to be attacked by some people. But it's this idea of almost feeling very defensive, having your guard up really is the best way to kind of talk about it. And usually, since as I talk in my tarot reading course, you've got blue in the background, which says this is also dealing with your emotions. Because if you have been hurt in previous relationships, and I see this sometimes in relationship readings, you can see here the individual has a bandage on their head as if they've gone through, they have a reason to potentially be defensive. It's not just random defensiveness, it's because they've been hurt previously in the past and that's kind of coming up again. But I see this sometimes in relationship readings where if you've had, some bad relationships and now you're in a new one, this card actually is sometimes the reason people come to me for a tarot card reading because, they might be dating somebody new, might be a really nice person. But they're almost saying like, hey, they're being really nice, and I'm almost very suspicious of it, or I'm very, defensive about it because, what's the scam or what's going on behind the scenes? And what it really says is, no, actually, you came to me because you have some doubts about this new relationship. If we really look at it deeply, it could just be your previous hurt or wounds and your fear of being vulnerable this time because of previous relationships, and you really just haven't dated a nice person in a while. And this is truly a nice, genuine person who's actually just there's no scam behind them being nice. They're just a nice person, right? So when this card comes up in a tarot card reading, you got to look at all these different kind of influences to see what is causing the defensiveness. A lot, the card has multiple layers to it, and it's obviously just not as simple as, oh, you're defensive right now, get over it. It's like, well, okay, peel apart the layers. What's the reason for it? How can you kind of move past it? Or what is really, I think one is, what is it about the situation that's bringing up these feelings or dragging up, some old past hurts from obviously it makes sense in a relationship reading. If you are, got hurt previously and now you're putting your heart out there again, you want to be vulnerable with somebody new because that's the point of a relationship, but you're afraid of being hurt again. And you may have thought that you've done the work on yourself while you were single and you've kind of fixed this, these types of issues or concerns, but it doesn't come up until you're actually in the situation. So the fact that you thought you had done the work on yourself and you're fine. However, this new relationship is stirring up these defensive feelings again because you didn't realize it was going to get activated again until you saw yourself going down the path of like, oh, I actually really like this person. I really actually care or worry about the outcome of whether or not this relationship is or isn't going to make it. That's what's stirring up this defensive feeling that's coming up, and it may surprise you and say, well, I really thought I was over this. However, now that it's, there's some risk to the situation, I don't know how it's going to go, and I can't be in control of whether or not it does or doesn't work out. I'm starting to feel that vulnerable state again where it's unsure, and then, I could get my heart hurt again, but obviously that's the whole point of, being in a relationship. So then usually when I see that come up, I'll start to, look for other reasons or other cards that connect to this to see what specifically is causing those types of feelings, and then how can you unpack with it what the deeper is going on and help you move forward from there. For the Light Seers tarot over here, what I love about this specific depiction is it really becomes almost a blockade from getting to the true person. So it almost becomes a true barrier between you and the person you're probably inviting into your life, and says this is a hurdle. It kind of looks like a hurdle over here, but it's like a hurdle or a barrier that must be overcome before you can step across and really access your full, genuine, true, authentic self, how you meant to be and how you're represented. And it can tell you that there are times obviously a lot of times that being defensive can cause miscommunication. So in a tarot card reading, I'd look for other swords cards or other things that talk about communication. But this is a reason for miscommunication early on in a relationship because, you want to be open, you want to, be vulnerable and risk things with a new relationship. However, if you're not able to overcome this barrier, this separation, it's going to come across as, oh, maybe you don't care about this relationship. Maybe you're not fully invested in it, when actually the opposite is true. You are so invested in it that you were worried about the outcome, and it's triggering some defensiveness out of you and things that you weren't sure that you could, you weren't sure that you would fix, or you don't want to experience again because you don't want to go through the pain and loss of another relationship, when obviously it says that this is something that's really important to you and something you really want to have in your life. So now that what we're doing with this entire series, so at the end you'll see some other suggestions for the cards, is going through all the different tarot cards. So if you are a new tarot card reader, or new to the tarot, or just interested to see how tarot can help you really connect with your true and authentic self, then go through the rest of the series. There's a whole playlist of all of these. We're going to post them as we get them, but there's going to be all 78 of them to help you on your journey, or just help you understand and familiarize yourself a bit more with tarot and what it has to offer. And then there's a link in bio if you want to work with me. I do obviously tarot card readings. I do astrology charts and reports, numerology reports, as well as I have courses on how to read tarot if you're just getting into that, how to learn astrology, and all the things like that. So check out the description if you want to learn how to work with me. But I do believe tarot is a fantastic way to connect with your true and authentic self, and it can sometimes give you the clarity of really seeing what is really going on underneath the surface, and really a justification is, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Sometimes we may feel conflicted, but we honestly don't know what's causing it. But when the tarot can kind of tease it apart, is like, yes, two things can be true at the same time. That's what the Nine of Wands is showing us here. You can really want to be in a relationship, and it can be really important to your long-term goals, and you could be the problem or the barrier in actually getting or making progress in that relationship, because you're so afraid of getting hurt again that your past hurts are coming up and creating a barrier from you to connect with your new person. And both of those things can be true at the same time, and you can feel conflicted about it, but hopefully by working through it and checking out the rest of the tarot, we can actually make a connection and figure out how to make more progress.